Hello, Catherine. How are you? Good to have someone in right from the beginning. So this is only my second time going live, and first time I had 5 people, although one was my wife, who was just kind of having a sneaky look at what was going on. So we'll see if we can top that today. The first thing I want to ask before I step, I'm going to just kind of talk through some stuff unless people join and start asking questions. But as I've got Catherine here, could you tell me if the picture quality is any good? As in not really fuzzy, because the last time I did this, I made a bit of a schoolboy error and I didn't have an HD feed from my camera to my laptop, so the picture quality wasn't very good. So I've since bought one. In fact, I bought 3 cables, and it was only the third attempt I got the right one. So I'm trying this out now, and hopefully the picture looks okay when I'm looking at it on my laptop. So I'm not sure. We'll see how it all goes. But anyway, welcome. I've received 3 people now, in fact. So hello, everyone who's joined. I've just doing this for the second time only. So if you have questions, don't be shy in coming forward. Or if there's anything you want to discuss, any topics you want me to talk about, quite happy to cover those. I have got some written down as I was preparing to speak to nobody because I'm such a small channel. So I have got a couple of things I'm going to talk about. Catherine, you're saying the picture looks fine, so that's good. Thank you very much for confirming. I'm assuming you heard me okay, seeing as you've answered my questions, so that's good. So, yeah, obviously I'll keep an eye on the chat. Thankfully, I don't need an admin to keep an eye on the chat. It's not going to be too busy, I don't think. But yeah, I'm just going to crack into some stuff. So I just put a video out earlier on this afternoon, which is all about camera presence and kind of being comfortable in front of camera, which seems to be going down quite well so far, which is good to know. It's weird because I mentioned in that video that I am much more comfortable talking outside. So I set up this kind of studio space with the intention of filming all my videos in here. It probably looks better on the screen than it actually is. This is just the upstairs of my garage, and you can see it's all kind of just like whatever you call this type of stuff, sort of MDF sheets. And I've got a little desk and I've got my lights and stuff like that. And the plan was always to do all the videos in here. And the reason for that was basically I've got 2 young kids in the house and a dog, and it's always really noisy, and I was never going to get peace to make videos. So I decided, oh, hey Naz, I see you. Hi Naz, how you doing? I decided to set this space up to give myself some peace and quiet to actually record videos. But ironically, having bought lights and all this kind of stuff, I actually feel a lot more comfortable just talking outside. So I've not been doing that many videos in here. And also there's been a bit of a heat wave. Well, a heat wave for Scotland anyway. And as a result, up here gets like crazy hot, like really, really hot, to the point is just not comfortable to be up here. So I have decided to do this live after letting that heat wave kind of pass. So there we are. So we've got Naz in, and yeah. So oh, thanks, Naz. Yeah. I mean, it looks okay. I mean, I'll maybe do a behind the scenes video, and you'll see just how bad it is up here. But I've tried to do okay with it. The phrase "polish a turd" kind of comes to mind. Sorry to be so crude. Yeah, and it is. You're right, Catherine. Like, it's interesting because when I wanted to start YouTube, it came about around Christmas time last year. I made this decision that I was going to do it, and I thought, right, okay, I'm gonna have to go out and get all this bits and pieces. And I was like, I've got this space here, I'm gonna set it up. So I just had an old desk, which I've got here, but didn't have any legs on it. So I bought some cheap legs from IKEA. I bought a key light that's up here, and this kind of strip light thing, which just adds a little bit of aesthetic. And yeah, as I say, I did start recording here, and I'm just really not using it all that much. So I should just be clicking on comments. I'm forgetting that I can do this in StreamYard. So yeah, I've been, as I say, recording a lot more outside, and it's just kind of really quite a comforting space for me because it's just so quiet. There are people who, mainly cyclists and things, that go about, and but there's like a little kind of dirt track, and you can just kind of go up that a little bit, and then kind of nobody bothers you there, so you can kind of record without being interrupted. Because I do walkie talkies as well, but as inspired by Rob the Maritimer, obviously, and although I will do more of them. There's the road that I live on. It's really popular with like cyclists and runners and stuff like that. So I've still not gotten comfortable enough that when these people come past, that I can just continue on as if they're not there. So it always gets a little bit awkward. So I've kind of started to kind of do it more in the woods. But I know that I've been fortunate. It's been summertime. I don't know if I want to sit in the woods in the height of winter when it's like -17. So I think I'll maybe have to spend more time up here. Just going to clone some of the comments. So Naz, my tripod's an old shoebox. I film it on the dining table with piles of clothes. Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, yeah, if I was to show you the other side of this desk where I'm pointing, yeah, I mean, it would shatter the illusion, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, you just make do with the space you've got, right? That's something that I think when I first started watching people, you know what it's like. I think it's only since starting YouTube that you kind of gravitate more towards smaller channels. But when you start out, you're seeing people who, on the face of it anyway, have quite a professional looking setup, or some big channels like, Ali Abdaal and Peter McKinnon and these types of people who clearly have got, really impressive setups. And you think that, oh, well, if I'm going to have any kind of success on YouTube, I need to have all that. And that was what I was trying to do here, was kind of give something that looked okay. But ironically, as I say, I'm spending more time outside. Catherine, it looks great. Thank you. Smart and Curious, nice to you popping in just for a few minutes to listen in. Well, glad I hopefully I've still caught you. I can see we've got 7 people in, so I've already beaten my last live where I got 5. And as I keep saying, one of those was my wife, and I'm not really counting that. I should be careful what I say because she might be one of the 7. Actually, I didn't think of that. Well, it's good to have you here, Smart and Curious. I just was kind of busy replying to your comment on my recent video just before I joined. Catherine, Naz, that reminds me of when I did my book launch live during lockdown in my living room, my laptop and an old box. Yep, that's it. Whatever works. People don't need to see that side of it, do they? And yeah, I think that was something that I was really keen not to do, was spend an absolute fortune, because I didn't know. I still don't know what's going to happen with this YouTube channel, but as I didn't want I couldn't really justify spending a huge amount of money, as much as the temptation would have been there to do it. I was lucky because the camera that I'm filming this on is a Sony A7 III, which I had from years ago from taking. I did a lot of landscape photography, and so I had a tripod and all that kind of stuff anyway. The only thing I didn't really have was lights or a microphone. So but there's no way I would have bought a fancy camera right from the off. Had I not had the one that I've got, I'd have just been using my phone. I think I can see why people kind of go all in and think, oh, I'll spend all this money. But I think YouTube, having been doing it for 3 months, is such a learning curve. And you realize that, you know, it wouldn't be for everybody as much as people might think it's a great idea when they start. And I think you guys would all probably agree that, you know, it isn't for the faint-hearted. You know, it's not light work doing YouTube. It's enjoyable work, but it's time consuming. So I would hate to have spent all that money and then decide it wasn't for me and not stick it out. Catherine, illusions are good sometimes. Yeah, yeah. 7 is great. You have to count your wife. Yeah. Yeah, I know. I probably should, to be fair. And then Catherine, you said there, it's like a new business. You can't spend a whole lot up front. Absolutely. Yeah. It's you make do with what you have. I think that sounds like something that my gran would have said, to be honest, but it's true. I think it's a huge, so many channels that start won't make a go of it, not because they're not good enough to, just that they won't stick it out, and it's a shame to kind of spend all that money and not stick at it. So on the other flip of the coin, you might say, well, you're kind of making yourself more accountable to try and make it a success if you put all that investment in, but it's not what I would do. We've got Nancy here as well. Hello, Nancy. I'd seen your comment on my video from earlier as well. Thank you for that. Thank you for watching. Lots of highs going on. Good to see. Okay. We're up to 8 people now. So I'll be really impressed if I can beat Rob's record, but it's probably unlikely. So yeah, I mean, so actually, it's funny that we just kind of naturally fell into that discussion. But my first thing, I had this list of stuff that I was going to talk about if there was no one here. But the first thing was actually lack of gear, which is it's kind of fitting because that's what we've kind of naturally just gravitated to. So yeah, and as I say, I was fortunate I had a decent enough camera and things to start with. But again, as I said at the start, ironically, I'm now filming mostly outside just on my phone. And I feel like I've got like a Google Pixel 9. And it does a good job. You know, it's the quality is always pretty decent. You know, sometimes depending on the conditions outside, I've noticed that the picture quality can sometimes suffer. You know, it wouldn't be as good as my camera, but equally the convenience of just being able to take a phone and put it on a small tripod and film anywhere. I prefer that, and I'm happy to on occasion sacrifice a little bit of quality. So it doesn't really bother me too much. I think it's more about, you know, I'm less worried about kind of the setting and the production, if you like, as I am now, like delivery. And that was what the video earlier on was about, was the things that I've kind of been just teaching myself through other YouTube videos. You know, it's nothing I've come up with. It's all kind of recycled tips, but it's stuff that has kind of been working quite well, and just yeah, trying to improve my delivery, because something is obviously I've got a question for Kim's here. Hi Kim. I'll come on to your question in just a second. My initial videos, the retention on them was horrible. You know, it just wasn't, I wasn't getting strong enough hooks, and I wasn't keeping it tight enough to kind of hold on to viewers. And I had one of my biggest things, and you probably tell from this live, is just my ability to ramble. I like talking, so keeping that to a minimum on videos has been difficult. And I realized if I'm going to have any chance of moving this channel forward, I really need to kind of rein that in. So the focus has been in keeping the videos as short as they need to be to get the message across, and just and no more. So kind of not filling it with too much fluff or too much noise, and obviously just trying to work on how I deliver in the video as well. So how I'm coming across and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, the focus is far more on that than kind of gear and setup and stuff at the moment. Okay, I'll come on to Catherine's question in a second. So, hi, Steve. Question. This is from Kim. I have two different ideas for my channel. One is videoing my experiences while dog sitting. I love dogs. And the other is, I feel there's a second part here. The other videoing me playing a game of bingo. How should I separate the two? I think you've got two different things there. So I guess not putting them both in the same channel would be the first thing if you want that channel to kind of grow. I think the dog sitting one would be really good. If there's so many people that love dogs, and it depends what angle you're wanting to come at it from. But yeah, I think there's such a huge audience for dogs. I could watch dog videos all day long. I've got a dog at home. In fact, um, he was in one of my videos the other day at the end because he's always out with me when I'm filming these videos. So yeah, but in terms of yeah, doing the two, I think there was a good example that Rob did in one of his lives, and he had somebody on, and was it fishing and hunting, and he made the point of unless you're into both, then you're not going to grow an audience particularly because obviously some people are going to be interested in one thing and some interested in the other. So I think keeping things separate, but obviously I just mentioned it earlier as well. It's not for the faint-hearted doing YouTube in terms of the time that you put in. So um, especially if you're actively trying to grow a channel, that's the other point I need to probably make is how much do you want to grow your channel, or are you doing it purely kind of for recreational reasons, for fun, to just document things for yourself? Because if it's that, then you could do whatever you like on that channel. You could put whatever you want to put in. If it's almost just kind of like a personal archive of things. But if you want to grow the channel and use that for, I mean, if you're growing a channel to fulfill an audience, it would typically be to educate people, to entertain. And so, I mean, dog sitting could be a bit of both, really. There's maybe if people are wanting to do dog sitting businesses, for example, a bit of education around that, or it could be purely just for people that love watching dogs like me, and therefore it would be entertainment. And then obviously you've got kind of informative channels as well. If you wanting to kind of purposely grow a channel, then keep it separate. If you just want to have a channel for fun that's for you, then just put whatever you like on there. Okay. I'll go back to Catherine's question. I know nothing about StreamYard. Can you tell us how that works and where do I start? So bear in mind, I've used it twice, but it's really easy to use. So I'm using the free version. So again, coming back to not investing too much, I already pay like a monthly fee for Canva and something else for YouTube. So I actually looked at upgrading just before this started, and it was something like $40 a month, and I just wasn't going to be prepared to pay that. So for the free version, it's maximum 720p, so it's still HD, but it's not full HD. But I think for me at the moment, that's good enough. And then you'll see in the top right corner, it's got that powered by StreamYard logo, which if you pay for a version, then that you have the option to get rid of that, or you can personalize it. But really, all you do is you sign up for an account on the website. You can then link multiple platforms to your StreamYard account. So in my case, I've done YouTube, but you can do you could do Facebook, Instagram, I think TikTok. I think there's other stuff there as well. And what you can do, I think it's maybe limited in the free version, but you can basically broadcast to multiple platforms. I think there's a limitation in the free version though. And what I've done basically is I've basically just set up that account. I've linked it to my YouTube account. So you just have to put in the username of your YouTube account. You might have to put in your password for it as well. I can't remember. And then I've got my laptop and I've got my camera hooked up to my laptop. with an HDMI cable and a USB cable. Obviously, if you're just using your phone rather than a camera, then it would be kind of the same thing. But obviously, I'm assuming that you want to have your camera or your phone, whatever you have, as your camera, and to be kind of looking at comments and stuff on a laptop. That's my assumption. So you can basically just plug in whatever you're using as your camera into your laptop, and then in your StreamYard account, you can basically pick what feed you want is to be for your camera and for your mic. So I've got my wireless Me microphone. This is the transmitter. I've got a receiver plugged in just here to my laptop, and I can select that as an option. It's just a plug and play, nothing fancy there. And then obviously I've got the camera as an option as well. And then once you've selected your camera option and your microphone option, and you can just schedule your live for whenever you want, or you can just go live immediately. You don't have to schedule it. And you basically just enter like a studio, and then what I'm seeing on the screen, I don't know if I can share it. Can I share my screen? Let me see. Oh, apologies. This might take a second. Sorry, it's just asking me to confirm passwords and things. Oh, no. I'm going to have to come back to it. It was asking me to quit Google Chrome, which would have meant I lost the feed, so I'm not able to do it. I need to set a permission first. Hopefully you've still been hearing me while I've been talking there. But yeah, basically in StreamYard's website, basically once you're into the studio, you can see yourself, you can see the comments coming down the right-hand side, just like you would if you're watching someone else's live. And then you can click on the comments, like I've got yours highlighted here. And then that's it. And you can, again, I think with the free version, it's limited, but you can add other people. So you add yourself as the kind of main presenter. So I could remove myself here if I wanted to, and then I can add multiple people as well. So that's kind of how it works. But I might do a kind of tutorial video on how to set up for a live, because I've been thinking about doing that, but I've just been still getting to grips with how to do it myself. But anyway, hopefully that gave you a bit of an insight. Okay. Just going through the comments, catching up. Maybe I do need a moderator after all. I thought the delivery on the most recent video was great, Steve. Thanks, Naz. Appreciate that. Yeah, I've been working on it because I'm trying to get that average watch time better. Because I just, you know yourself, if you're not getting the retention, you can't really expect YouTube to kind of keep pushing that video more. So it's all been about trying to get those impressions out, and I am seeing a difference. Like I've had a subscriber jump in the last kind of 3 weeks, and I'm kind of putting that down more to the delivery in the video and the hooks, keeping people watching for longer and getting bigger, getting that video out in front of more people. Obviously, you've still got to get them to click on it. So there's always the thumbnails stuff as well. But I felt with the thumbnails, it's funny because try to get all the, I'm going off in tangents again, but trying to get all the stars to align, I find difficult. And I'll talk about it in a second, about this video I shared last week and why I felt like I'd done everything right in that video, but for some reason, like got no impressions at all. So a bit weird. Catherine, agreeing with Naz that the delivery in that one was good. Thank you. Yeah, I'm definitely getting better. There's room for improvement, but when I look back at some of the early videos, it's, not good. But then I think we all go through that, right? Catherine, you were replying to Kim. People on YouTube and socials love pets. Have a border terrier, or tearaway as we call them. Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, dogs are massive. So many people love dogs. I think a dog related channel would be a really good shout. Um, Kim, yeah, mostly into entertaining. I love watching. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, I think that's if that's your angle, rather than because if you're looking at it as like a dog sitting business and telling other people about, well, this is the things you need to do to set up a dog sitting business and things, but if it's just purely for entertainment reasons, then yeah, I don't see why not. Because and it's quite a clever way to kind of break into YouTube a little bit because a lot of the emphasis you might still be talking in those videos, but a lot of the emphasis is on the dogs. So if you feel any kind of pressure in terms of putting yourself in front of camera, there's that maybe is a nice kind of gentle introduction to YouTube because obviously, yeah, there'll probably be people would watch it thinking, well, who's the person who's got all these dogs? So you probably would want to still be in, or maybe you'd be doing voiceovers or whatever angle you went with. But I guess the kind of star of the show, if you like, is going to be the dogs. So it's probably quite a good way to do it. Yeah, and as just saying, dog content always goes down well. Agreed. Um, Nancy, I'll have to borrow my daughter-in-law's dog. Yeah. Um, well, yeah. I mean, even just if you think of like Naz's, sorry, not Naz's, Rob's lives when he's got Peanut the cat, and Peanut's like just kind of like a little sidekick, isn't she? And I think people just it introduces a kind of a human element in people as well. I think if people, there's lots of dog lovers, lots of cat lovers out there, and um, when people see you, it just, you know, maybe I'm talking nonsense, but I think it adds something to your personality. It shows that you're a dog lover or a cat lover or both, and that's why. I mean, with Marlowe, when he's in my videos, he doesn't get a say in the matter. To be honest, we're going out for walks, and for me, I try and do that on my walks because it's a time thing for me. I've got a busy work and home life, and finding the time for YouTube. If I was to be coming up here in the evenings and doing these videos, I probably wouldn't be doing as many as I'm doing because in the evenings I'm generally, got people, family looking for me and stuff like that. So I can't sneak up here too frequently. So the idea of doing walks and walkie talkies and sitting in the woods is I can do that at a lunchtime on my break. Um, and, I can let the dog off the lead. He just has a rummage around the woods and comes back. And so his head pops up every now and then in the videos. But maybe I'll try and incorporate him a bit more. See how naturally is on camera. Okay. Thanks, Steve. That's great. No problem. It wasn't the most polished explanation of StreamYard that you'll ever get, but once I get more familiar with it, I'll definitely drop it into a video. Catherine, we all live and learn, Stephen. Remember, there's no such thing as perfection. Absolutely true. Yeah, I think that's something that certainly you starting on YouTube will tell you that quite quickly. But I think we all know that kind of deep down. I don't want to get too deep, but just at kind of the stage I am in my life, I've obviously, I'm in kind of my 40s now, so I kind of take stock every so often and maybe other people have done this as well of where where you are in your life, and I always look at it as, well, yeah, there might have been more that I might have achieved by now, or things I might have done better, but equally things could have been a lot worse. And I think we all want to kind of move forward, and we all, perfection is this nice theory, but how would you define perfect? I don't think it exists. So anyway, getting pretty deep. I'll move on. Yeah, Peanut is part of the show and the family, and yeah, I mean, I think that's one thing. This is kind of one of my other topics to talk about, actually. So it's a nice segue, is lives. The community element of lives for me has been a total game changer, because the first lives I've really joined were Rob's, and obviously built up such a community of kind of friends through that live sessions that he does. You know, because I think pretty much everyone that's been on here tonight has been on Rob's lives and subscribes to his channel. And it's just that, you know, a really good, and that's what I was kind of saying was, you know, when you first start looking at YouTube, you're kind of looking at all these kind of bigger accounts, and it can start to become a little bit isolating, because you're looking at all these people that have, you know, achieved certain milestones that you're not anywhere near, whether that's getting monetized or hitting 10,000 subs or 50,000 subs, whatever it is. And then you start to kind of get into that community of people who are all small creators looking to grow their channels, and it's become uh, far more of a community and far more sociable. I think there was a period where I found it quite kind of, yeah, isolating, I think would be the word I would use, lonely maybe. And yeah, having like those other people around, and you know, offering each other encouragement, and dropping in each other's lives, and all this type of stuff. Again, getting the time to watch all these people's videos, and drop into the lives. And I know we're probably all in the same boat. So, you know, for me to have 7 of you sitting in this live tonight, and giving up your time, is just, you know, really appreciated. And obviously, I'll try to join as many as I can as well. Um, so yeah, no, I think lives are really good. Um, Feel free to include your dog more in your videos. Yep, I think he takes the heat off me a little bit. Getting him to sit still is very hard. He's 7 years old, 7.5. But yeah, he's got the energy of a 6-month-old puppy, to be honest. So he's always just running about. But I will I'll try and give him some snippets and give him his 5 minutes of fame. And then yeah, Catherine, I've been thinking about including Sid in my videos too. Yeah, absolutely. I know you've put some photographs of him on your kind of posts and stuff. Yeah, I think yeah. I mean, I'm not saying I'm not saying for going back to Rob's lives that they wouldn't have the success without Peanut, but I think it just helps. It makes well. I think Rob is quite a very relatable person anyway, but I do think there is just something about giving even just a small insight into your personal life, even if that's just having your pet in the room with you. Just kind of, it just makes that connection a bit more personal, I think. And I think anything that helps you build a relationship with your audience, I think is a good thing. And yeah, there was some comments. I think Nancy, you commented actually on one of the videos from the other day, where Marlo had his little 5 minutes at there. Well, it wasn't even 5 minutes, 30 seconds at the end of the video. So yeah, I think it's a good thing. I say for Marlo, he comes out with me when we're outside anyway. I wouldn't take him up here because he would no doubt get himself into trouble. But yeah, what breed is Marlo? He is, well, he's supposed to be a miniature Labradoodle. But he's not particularly miniature. He's like 25 kilograms. So yeah, no, he's quite a big boy. But he's his mum was a Labrador and his dad was a miniature poodle. So yeah, so we've had him for, let's say, just over 7 years now. So it's flown by, because in that time we've had 2 kids as well. So the poor guy's going down the pecking order a little bit in terms of, but that's not true. He gets loads of attention really, but he has to fight for that attention a bit more with the kids. Question from Kim. How can I send you a super chat? I've never sent one. Oh, that's Kim, that's really nice. Unfortunately, you can't because you need to have your channel needs to be a certain size in order to receive super chats. So I actually sent my first one yesterday, and that was to Rob. Yeah, I don't know. Others on the live might know the answer to this, but I think it's the same as what you need for AdSense. So I think it's 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. I think you need to be monetized basically in order to receive super chats. But I do have a buy me a coffee link on my profile, but don't feel obliged to do that just because I've mentioned it. But I appreciate the offer. That's really nice. But yeah, I think I only learned that myself like a couple of weeks ago. But I'm really keen to get to that point, not necessarily to receive money from people for super chats, but to be able to do like a little animation like what Rob does. I don't know what mine's is going to be yet, but I've been asking Rob in his lives to do a tutorial on that. I think he said he does it through Canva. But yeah, I would love to do that and have. I don't think anything will beat the little tugboat that Rob has, but I'll need to have a think. What mine might be like a little Marlow kind of barking across the bottom of the screen. Maybe that's what I'll do. So he's big. Yes, no, he is. He's small in frame, but he's kind of solid. He's a big guy. He's so gentle though. Naz, 500 subs and 3,000 watch hours for supers. Okay, so it's not quite. I've got about 370 subs to go, and I'm nowhere near on the watch hours actually. That's something I've actually got on my list to talk about as well. I'll come on to that in a second. And then Catherine, I think might be 1,000. Oh no, you said 3,000 as well. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I think between you guys, you're definitely right. Let's grow your channel so I can send a super chat. Well, that's the plan. That's the plan to grow the channel. But yeah, no, the super chat's a good thing. You know, I sent one to Rob yesterday, and just because you know I think that there's real value in the lives that he does, and for him to commit as much of his time as he does every week, and I know that every other week he does, he also does his kind of membership lives as well on a Wednesday. That's why I made this one this Wednesday, because I know it'll be next Wednesday. He's got his members live, and I thought I'm going to lose lots of audience if I schedule at the same time as his. So I was tactical about putting it tonight. But yeah, you know, he offers a lot of his time to help other people, and I guess you know not just in his lives but in his videos as well. I guess a lot of people who do YouTube are making videos to help other people. So it's nice that that there's the option to do that. What I didn't know until after I'd done the super chat for Rob last night, I wouldn't have it wouldn't have changed my decision to do it. But YouTube takes, is it 30% of it, and then Rob gets 70%. So that doesn't change my mind. But I thought, oh, that's a little bit greedy, YouTube. You know, it's you're already getting money from the AdSense of other people's videos. I mean, I know they have to make money, but I didn't realize that they got a percentage of super chats as well. So just an FYI for you there. So yeah, what was I going to talk about there a second ago? Completely forgotten about it now. I thought I had it on my list, but I don't think I do. Nope, it's gone. I'll have to move on to something else. Yeah. Catherine, yeah, 30% goes to YouTube. You guys are all way better educated on the ins and outs of YouTube than me. Okay, well, I'll move on to other stuff on my channel then. My channel on my list. So the next thing was about slow growth, and that was just, I've actually got a video about that kind of coming out, so I'm not going to kind of talk too much about it, but yeah, I think there was a couple of, I'd put a post on, and Catherine, I think you commented on it, and someone else had commented as well. Just, I think I was saying, what's your kind of biggest kind of bugbear with YouTube at the moment? And the two comments I got back were both around the kind of pace at which the channels are growing. And first of all, Catherine, I think your channel's growing quite quick, to be fair. From an outsider looking in anyway. But I know you put a lot of effort into it, and you're kind of putting videos out daily, which is amazing that you're able to do that. But yeah, and it got me thinking about making a video, which I've made, I just haven't put out yet. But yeah, I think it's something everyone wants their channel to grow quicker than what it does. And you know, I'm no different. You know, I want to see the channel grow, but what I have noticed, as I say, it was less than 3 weeks ago, because I remember the date. It was my daughter's birthday, and I hit 100 subscribers. And as of this evening, unless anyone's unsubscribed, I'm at 133, and that has accounted for a few people that have unsubscribed. Not that I'm counting, obviously, but yeah, that's been quite a leap, you know, relatively. I mean, I know big channels get probably more than that in a single day, but or even in an hour. But you know, it's obviously another video I did recently. Success is all relative, and I think it's important to kind of celebrate the small wins along the way. It's easy to kind of look at bigger channels, and that's something I did talk about in a previous video, was comparing yourself. But you know, it's not a race. You know, you're just going at your own pace. I know other channels. I'm not sure if she's on, but Nicola's Recipes, she's another kind of big supporter of my channel, and she started about the same time as me. Obviously, different niche, but she's hit over 1,000 subs, and you know, I'm sitting at under 150. So it would be easy to get despondent about that and kind of think, oh, well, it must be something I'm doing wrong. But it's not that I'm necessarily doing anything wrong. Maybe you know, there's more demand for what she's doing. I think my niche is quite a hard one to break into, and that's why I've kind of tried to change the dynamic a little bit in the last few weeks. But yeah, if we compare ourselves against other people, it's you know, you're kind of making it a bad situation for yourself. You just have to kind of run your own race. But I think, yeah, the celebrating the wins along the way, I think, is important. And I think being in communities with people. Oh, hey, it's Rob. Hey, Rob, how you doing? Good to have you here. And yeah, I think it's important to try and not compare ourselves too much against other people, and just go ahead and just focus, just kind of head down, and you know, keep trying to improve our content that we're putting out every week. And you know, the growth will start to come. As I say, I've gone from 100 to 130 something in the last kind of 2 weeks, which is just a small in a lot of people's eyes will just be a small kind of incremental increase. But I celebrate that, because you know, it's big for me, and I'm hoping that, you know, just getting from 100 to 200 will be a little bit quicker than getting to 100, and then getting from 200 to 500 might be that bit quicker again. So I think all you can do is just keep working on getting better, and just keep going. And if you're seeing any kind of moving forward is good, you know. Okay. Nancy, Rob in the house. Yeah. I don't know what point you joined, Rob, but I was just talking about how much of your time that you dedicate to obviously helping people with your lives and, in your lives, but just obviously the videos that you're creating as well. But the fact that you drop in other people's lives and all the kind of effort you put into that, that was why I kind of given you a super chat last night, because someone was asking, it was Kim was asking to give me a super chat, which I really appreciated, but I was saying I don't qualify. So anyway, but I can actually thank you in my video for everything you're doing for, I think, me and everyone that's in the chat here in this live. I think everyone would agree that it's that you're a big inspiration and you're a huge help to everybody. So nice to be able to say it, vocally without having to just type it in. Hopefully you're still here and saw that. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Rob. Yeah. No, I'm glad to get going live. I'd started this a while ago and then stuff came up and couldn't kind of continue it. So I'm hoping to do it every week now. Naz, I swear every time someone mentions Rob in a stream, he pops in. I know, I've noticed that actually. It's spooky. So every week I'm going to be saying it, Rob. Okay. Catherine agrees. Yeah, he does. It's some kind of sixth sense. Like building anything, just keep going. Yep, I completely agree. The sure way to not grow is to stop. We've got Michael here. I think it's awesome Rob showing up for his viewers when they do their thing. What a class act. Hey there, Steve. Yeah, agreed. It is. Completely agree. And hey, Michael. Okay. Where that? Yes, Catherine, just keep going. Yeah, agreed. Rob, really appreciate that, but you're doing all the work. Keep doing what you're doing. That's the intention, Rob. Yep, that's the intention. Nice to meet you. Yeah, I know. It is though. It's even if it's just through chats and lives. I mean the best bit for me is the community side of this. That's why I want to do lives as well. Just the support that I've had from so many people. I need to give Catherine actually a special shout out in particular, because we've had a lot of kind of communication out with YouTube as well. And we're talking about doing a bit of a podcast together soon once you get back from what seems like a 4 or 5 week holiday. That's how it feels anyway. But yeah, we'll do something shortly. But yeah, Catherine, you've been again. This is turning into like an Oscar speech or something, isn't it? You've been really motivating for me as well. And that's true of quite a few people that have joined in tonight. So thanks to everybody, really. But anyway, I'm going to get all mushy in a second. Rob, maybe I've got a secret script running that alerts me. Yeah. Maybe you're doing some quirky AI thing that we don't understand yet, or maybe it's something you unlock in YouTube once you hit over 50,000 subs. Maybe it's that, and it's just this big secret amongst all the big YouTubers. Or maybe I spend too much time on YouTube, or I think I'm guilty of that as well. That's what I was saying earlier on was, I obviously appreciate, especially, there'll be a lot of people giving up their time to kind of join this, and we all lead busy lives. So I appreciate every single person that joins, and obviously I do my best to try and join other people's lives when I can, and time zone permitting as well, obviously. But yeah, it's great to have that sort of support, isn't it? Organic, Steve. That is the way Rob says to do it. It will start snowballing one day. Well, yeah, it might do. But I think I've kind of already kind of made peace with, if it doesn't, then I have fun doing it anyway. I think as long as the channel was moving forward, even slowly, I would still do it because I actually really enjoy doing it. So I'd like to get it to a point where it can become a business. That's the ultimate goal, and it's good to have the goal. But I think it's true. You have to kind of you have to go into that knowing that it might not happen, and to make it happen is going to require a lot of hard work, and therefore you have to enjoy it. I think that's the one thing that so many other people talk about, but it's the thing that I can't help but reiterate all the time is if you don't enjoy it, then it's probably best to reconsider it. I think you really have to enjoy it. And as Rob has said before as well, organic growth is the best. It has to be people that are actually invested in your channel. I noticed that somebody, I think it was last night in Rob's live, had talked about they'd kind of got sort of paid for subscribers and stuff. And I kind of winced when I saw that. I thought, that's just, I know it's done with best of intentions, but that's probably not going to help in the long run. I know it's tempting. It's tempting to see that big number of subscribers, or to try and get yourself to that kind of point you're monetized. But if you've got 1,000 subscribers who don't actually watch your videos, you're not going to get those watch hours anyway, right? So it's totally pointless. Okay, Rob, and it's not just me. It seems every time I drop into a chat, Catherine Price is already there. Yeah, yeah. I know, Catherine. Catherine's really good because she'll just like go into a comment of like a kind of uh, thread that me and her have got on a video and say, oh, such and such has just gone live. And that was actually how I met Jay, who I don't know if he's on, but I didn't even know about his channel. And then he was doing a live with Naz. So I had known about Naz already, but even then, that was Catherine that had pointed me in Naz's direction. So Catherine's definitely the kind of the hub of the social circle, I think. You're going to be home late next week. Okay, well, we will get something organized in terms of doing a podcasting. That sounds fun. Good. Got to have those goals, Steve. Yep. Yeah, no, absolutely. I think, yeah, I mean, I didn't start the channel with not having a goal of taking it somewhere. But I think the more I do it, the more I enjoy it. I have good days and bad days, but that's maybe a nice segue into this particular video, actually. This particular item I had on my list to talk about was I did a video on, when did it go out? Was it Friday? And Thursday or Friday last week. And it was basically about what 250 views actually looks like. So a lot of people, put YouTube videos out that say, oh, if you're getting less than 500 views, do this. And it kind of almost has a negative connotation to it that less than 500 views is bad. And again, it's all relative. Remember about the size of your channel. So bigger channels would probably be less impressed with 250 views. But the spin I put on it in that video was that if you were doing a TED talk to 250 people in a packed auditorium, then that would feel like a real success. And especially if people came up to you afterwards and were giving you a pat on the back and asking you questions and telling you that you gave them a lot of value in that talk, which is the equivalent of like comments, isn't it? That's what people are doing. Well, not all comments if you get trolled, but so I did that video. I thought it had a really good message. It had a decent click-through rate. We'll just come on to that in a second, though. And the retention was like 50%, which for one of my videos was pretty good. But it's even now, this is Tuesday, it's only had, I think, less than 500 impressions. And I felt like my delivery was good. I think that's reflected in the retention. the click-through rate, admittedly for a small number of impressions, but that was at like 8%. And I thought, what is going on with this video? Why is YouTube not pushing this? And so I got really deflated about it. And I went to make a video about it, and then I was like, actually, I'm not in the right headspace for this. It's just going to be me having a moan, and people don't want to watch that. So I kind of slept on it, and then I have made another video about it that kind of comes at it with a bit more of a rational kind of thought. But even now, I'm still like, I just don't understand why that video hasn't been pushed more than it has been. But then on the flip side of that, other videos that I've put out lately, especially my kind of pivot video, which was through advice from Catherine and Rob, and actually Brian G. Johnson as well. He'd mentioned it to me in one of his videos, one of his lives. That video did a lot better than all my other videos. So, and obviously that kind of saw a little boost in subscribers as well. So it was it's just kind of peaks and troughs, isn't it? It is a roller coaster. So yeah, you kind of go through a lot when you're doing these YouTube things. So you have to just kind of ride the tide, I think. Okay, some more comments. Oh, it's Jay. Hi, Jay. We were just talking about you a second ago. I was just saying how Rob made a comment about, we were kind of joking that Rob seems to always appear in your lives when you mention him. And then he was saying the same about Catherine. I was saying how Catherine's kind of, this whole kind of community that we've got, Catherine feels like she's right at the hub of it. And it was through her sending me a message that she told me that you were doing a live with Naz. And at that point, I hadn't known about your channel. And then I had known about Naz, but that was only through Catherine as well. So Catherine is out there spreading the good word, and it's much appreciated. Okay. So we've got to catch up with some comments. Naz, that's why I almost stopped looking at analytics. It raises questions that don't have answers. Yeah, I mean that was the conclusion I drew. I spent a day sulking. I was like, why is that video not getting pushed out more? And then I thought, you know what? I don't understand it. So what's the point on stewing on it? I might as well just accept that video, for whatever reason, hasn't pushed out. And you're going to get videos that are hits, and you're going to get videos that are misses. And that one was obviously just a miss, even though I thought it was quite a good video. But then on the flip side, sometimes the videos you think are a bit meh end up doing quite well. So yeah, I'm a nightmare for YouTube analytics at the moment. I'm constantly in there refreshing. Yeah, and I don't know why. I've got other things I need to be doing. I think the novelty of YouTube analytics should wear off. Ask me again in another 3 months and we'll see. Hi, Jay from Nancy. Good evening, Jay. Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, really? Unfortunately. Catherine's the ringleader. Yeah. Rob. And then you mentioned Jay, and he dropped in too. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. The algorithm is listening. Yeah, there we go. It just wasn't listening on Friday. I can assure you. I'm not bitter. I'm not bitter. Catherine is Rob's spy. Oh, plot twist. Yeah, maybe. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know how their time zones could ever make that possible, though, because I feel like when Rob's doing his lives, it's like 3 in the morning or something for Catherine, and she's still on them. Lots of banter going on here. It's great to see you doing this, Steve. Good crowd you've gathered. Yeah, I'm chuffed. It's kind of been hovering around 7 or 8 people. Great to have other people in that I look to and admire as well. As I say, I'm, obviously Rob's got this kind of big following, but I've picked up stuff from him, but I've picked up stuff from all you guys, to be honest. Um, and yeah, it's, as I say, there is a real community, and it's nice to feel part of that. And that's why, yeah, I want to kind of do these lives, is to kind of do my bit in that respect. Oh, this is too good. Remember, guys, I'm retired, so I have the time, and YouTube is a hobby for me. If I monetize, all good. But my passion is sharing what I've learned, and I'm still learning in life. Yep, and you never stop learning, Catherine. That's true. Yeah, yeah. I forget you're retired, of course. Yeah, it's, again, not jealous, but yeah, it is. I mean, I know Naz. I know you've got kids. Rob, obviously, your kids are a bit older, but um, I don't know if Jay, you've got kids, or for anyone else for that matter that's on. But yeah, I mean, trying to balance YouTube around having a young family and a full time job is can be a challenge. But that's why I'm covering old rope here again. But I've found doing videos at lunchtime when I'm out walking the dog, it's kind of killing two birds with one stone. It's time that I need to spend anyway. So I'm filming more and more outside, but that's been fine during the summer. But yeah, I don't know if I'll be doing it in the winter the same. But it's helped me get like kind of 2, even 3 videos out a week, which has been good. But I am kind of feeling I'm neglecting other stuff, so I might have to try and not commit to 2 or 3, maybe 2. Gee, what's really frustrating is when we tick all the boxes. My recent video, over 70% retention. That's good. 14% click through rate. It's really good. My views were from 84% subscribers. Yeah, so I'm assuming you didn't get the same amount of impressions as what you'd hoped. That was kind of like that video. My numbers weren't quite as good. I think I was 8% click through, and I think, what did I say? But it was just over 50% retention. But a lot of my early videos were proper nosediving in the early stages. So that's why I've been working on delivery and camera confidence and that type of stuff, and obviously hooks. So yeah, it's frustrating when you think, okay, I've nailed that, or maybe not nailed it, but I've improved that. And as I say, I'm getting click through, so the thumbnails and titles must be okay, but YouTube just doesn't want to share it. So yeah, it is frustrating. But I guess the ones that really pop off are maybe the ones that you just don't expect. Yeah, so why doesn't it push it further as it does well with yeah, because that's how I understand YouTube to be, is it'll test it on your subscribers, and if it's well received, then it should push it out to a chunk of people, and if it still does well, then a slightly bigger chunk of people, just as YouTube's kind of slowly building up its own confidence in your video. So yeah, it's just, yeah, there's but yeah, again, I don't want to be that person that says, oh, the algorithm hates me. I know it's not that. But sometimes when that sort of thing happens, you think, is it? Anyway, rant over. Yeah, me too. I know I've been talking about it too much. 5 a.m. for Rob's live, Steve. You wouldn't get me at 3 a.m. these days. These days, were you ever up at 3 a.m.? I've got home at 3 a.m. a few times, but that was a long time ago. Rob's lives are always good. Can't argue there, Jay. I think, yeah, well, as I say, it's the value he gives in his lives are always great. But I think even just to add to that, it's the community that I don't think I would probably have really. I might have done. I mean, maybe would have stumbled across a lot of you guys out with that, but yeah, I don't think I'd maybe have find myself in this kind of community that we all seem to be kind of part of and enjoy. So I think we've all got kind of Rob to kind of thank for that. Kim, will you post the channel names for Catherine, New Creator Club, Jay, etc.? I'm not familiar with anyone but Rob. Does everyone want to put their handles for their YouTube channels into the chat for Kim? That would be ideal. Oh, Catherine's one step ahead of me. She's done it. Oh, a little plug for your new channel as well, Catherine. Nice. Jay, I think we're in a crowded niche. There are millions of people pushing videos every day, is it? So it takes time. Yeah, and that's it. I mean, I started off, and this is where I kind of made a slight pivot the other week. I was like, I'm trying to tell people stuff that I've not done myself yet, and that was kind of a wake up call. And well, again, I spoke about this earlier on, but Catherine had kind of subtly tried to kind of coax that realization out of me. And obviously, I'd been in Rob's live a few weeks back, and I don't think I'd actually mentioned specifically what I was talking about to Rob, but he'd said, if you're not getting the traction that you're looking for, maybe try and pivot slightly. And Brian G. Johnson on his live, I'd put in something to him, and he'd said that he'd looked at my channel before, and he was like, yes, he was quite blunt about it. He was like, yeah, people aren't going to watch you talking about how to go viral on YouTube and stuff because you've not done it. And like, it's a fair point. I think so. Now it's more of a documenting how I'm doing things, and what's working for me and what's not working for me, and sharing those things with that kind of caveat the whole time of, just because I'm saying it's worked for me, not to say it will work for you or vice versa. I think it's just about helping people to try things, because my audience is still people that want to grow their channels, but it's more of a let's trial and error together, rather than me be too preachy about this is what you should be doing. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do now. Okay, let's go into the comments. Over an hour in already. It's time's flying. I got home at 3 a.m. a good few years ago too. I used to get up at 4 when I was writing my book back in 2020. That is commitment. I've heard of this 5 a.m. club, which just became a default for me when I had kids. So, but it's not the sort of 5 a.m. club where you're getting up and doing some kind of meditation and being really proactive for the first few hours of your day. It's dealing with kids, so it's a totally different 5 a.m. club. Oh yeah, Nancy's put her thing in, as has Jay. Thank you everyone from Kim. Cool. So what else did I have on my list to cover off? Overthinking. So that was kind of what we just spoke about with tearing my hair out about why the algorithm wasn't pushing that video from Friday. So yeah, overthinking things. I think it's best just to accept that YouTube's doing its thing, and either you've gotten it right or you've gotten it wrong in that video potentially. And there's also someone commented on, I think I put a post in the kind of community tab about that while I was kind of in mid rant, and they said, sometimes videos kind of don't gain much traction for days or even weeks, and then just suddenly impressions start popping off, and then all of a sudden the video does well. So I think that's another kind of positive spin to put on that type of thing, is that you're building up this kind of what's the right word to use? I would say discography. It's not really the right thing, but this catalog, if you like, of content, which is there forever, and yeah, maybe maybe those videos are just kind of picking up the odd, because impressions tend to kind of tail off, right? But maybe every so often, if it's something that's people are searching for in particular, if all of a sudden a particular search becomes popular and folks start looking for that, maybe it'll go, oh, Catherine's got a video that people would like for that, and then it just starts taking off again. So I guess don't give up on the videos that you've put out there. Certainly don't remove them, because you never know, it might come back to life one day. Okay. I'll look at some more comments. Haven't posted a video yet. I'll let you know once I have one. Yeah, well, best of luck with that, Kim, when you do publish the first video. And I have subscribed to your channel, so I'll look out for it. I wish you luck with that, whichever direction you choose to go with it. But you can do it. Absolutely. If I can do it, literally anybody can. That's the conclusion I've drawn. I started off, just as kind of nervous and imposter syndrome kicking in and what have you, as much as anyone else that starts on YouTube. I think we've all got it in us. So yeah, I look forward to seeing it when it comes, Kim. Yeah, it's a balance. I feel I can give advice based on what I've learned from 50 plus videos, half taken down, but also due to the sheer amount of research I do for each video. Yeah, well, that was kind of where I went with it when I started, was thinking that I've spent so much time consuming other people's videos in that niche that, I can, because at the end of the day, we all know, generally speaking, you're not putting out brand new information that people can't get from someone else or haven't heard from someone else. But I think the reality is that, how you deliver it is what is going to help people watch you. And yeah, maybe you've not walked the walk in some of those things. But it's not to say that you've not consumed enough YouTube videos to know what you're talking about. I think it's just that, will people put their faith and their confidence in someone that has a low subscriber count? And we all know that shouldn't become a factor, because we all know, as small channels, that we all know what goes into YouTube and stuff like that. But from an outsider's point, who's maybe not started yet or whatever, they may not look at it that way. Like I probably didn't to start with. I was probably going to people like Rob or Kevin Colby, Brian G. Johnson, and these types of channels, Ali Abdal, to get my information. I wasn't searching out for smaller channels, because I guess I'm looking for people that have been there and got the t-shirt. But whether that's the right thing or not, I think that's probably how a lot of people look at it. So yeah, it's a, our niche is a tough one. But I think my experience over the last few weeks since I've pivoted is I'm getting far better engagement and a lot more people signing up to the channel, because I'm being just quite sincere about what I'm doing. It's kind of fly in the wall, warts and all. This is the struggles I'm having, and these are the successes, these are the kind of failures or the struggles. And yeah, I'm just going to do that, and over time I'll draw from the experience that I build up, I suppose. Nancy, okay, Kim, we will watch you. Yep, see, you've got an audience already, Kim. You're good to go. So either my adventures while dog sitting, my two Shih Tzus pass in 2022. I'm sorry to hear that, Kim. As a fellow dog lover, I know that's hard. So I'm sorry to hear that. Or recording myself playing bingo. I think the dogs will win out. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the kind of demand would be for bingo. But bingo is popular though, especially in the UK. I know lots of people are into bingo, uh, and I think online bingo became like a really big thing, especially during COVID as well. Um, I know people that are absolutely mad for bingo, so it's not to say that that wouldn't do well, but I would think that there's a bigger audience for dogs, is my personal opinion. But you have to enjoy it, as I say, and whatever you think you're most passionate about. So that's entirely your choice. Um, got quite a lot of comments to catch up on. Jay, important to always admit that we are still learning, as Rob admits himself, because we are. Yeah, and Rob, he's I think we all look up to Rob um, as a mentor, because of the length of time he's been doing it and the size that he's built the channel to. Um, but he would maybe look at Brian G. Johnson, who's got a slightly larger channel than him, or well, in fact, he Rob did a video about people that he wanted to call out, and there was guys like Ali Abdal, who obviously he's gone on another level with his YouTube, and but yeah, so we are always still learning. There's no doubt about that. On every walk of life, every day is a school day. Um, and yeah, Rob's always kind of keen to, and I think again that's why people like him so much. Is he's always keen to say, look, I'm not a guru. I'm just doing my thing. Um, and a lot of people probably would look at him as a guru, but that's the thing. There are so many gurus that are out there, and I mean, well, Jay, you're a perfect example of the video you did. Was it this morning or yesterday morning when you're having a big rant um about, oh yeah, just use this hashtag and you'll go viral. There is so many, and I'll say it again, gurus that are pumping out this kind of garbage um, information that makes it sound like it's so simple to go viral. And it's misinformation for a start. And also, it makes people feel really bad when they try that and it doesn't work for them. Which is why my advice to people is always be really selective about who, if you're looking to grow a channel and you're wanting to pick up tips from people about that, be really selective about who you lean on for that advice, because I personally have always kind of looked to, it was Kevin Colby first of all, and then Rob, and then really through the kind of the live that Rob did with Ty Myers, Brian G. Johnson, and I'll say Alex. I can't remember. I can't remember how to say her last name, so I'm not going to butcher it. But Saranova, I think it was Saranova. It was through that I found those guys, and in particular Brian, I've kind of lent into. What was I trying to say? Yeah, just people that are just, you can just tell that these guys are very sincere, and they're not trying to feed people rubbish information, and in fact are often calling out that rubbish information. And those are the people that you want to follow and lean on for advice and tips. I think I had subscribed to other channels, and it's only through watching Rob and Kevin and these guys that I've went, no, I'm unsubscribing to that channel because they're just feeding me absolute nonsense. Okay, next comment. Learning until our last date. Yep, agreed. I'll watch it. Make sure you say hello so I get your hand up. It's exciting and scary, absolutely. But you're in no different a position to anyone else when they start. It is exciting, and it's good that you find it exciting, because that shows that you want to do it. But yeah, it does feel a bit daunting putting yourself out there. But it doesn't need to be. I think the important things that I tell myself is that when you're starting out, the reality is that not a huge amount of people are going to see you to start with. Although in your case, Kim, you've got an audience now, but you're in good company. But yeah, generally speaking, not everyone's going to see your videos to start with. As we talked about, the algorithm builds trust through you getting good reaction from your subscribers. So when your subscriber count's low, it doesn't put a huge amount of impressions out to people. So you can kind of take comfort in knowing that your video is not going to get seen by a huge amount of people, and the vast majority of people that you don't know who are going to see that video are going to be pretty supportive. That's been my experience so far. Jay, when he did his live the other week there, he was talking about how he's not had a trolling comment yet and how he was actually looking forward to it. And I'm kind of the same. Like it would just be like water off a duck's back for me. I would not waste my time on it. But I think people will be receptive to it. People will admire you for doing it because although there's lots of people on YouTube, relative to how many people there are in the world, there's only a very small percentage of people that are actively making videos on YouTube. And, you can't, especially once you get into it and appreciate what goes into that, the effort and the learning curve that comes with it, people will generally respect you for doing it. So, yeah, it seems scary, but the support's there. And if once you get to the point of doing your first video, you'll find that you'll get that support and you'll get a thrill from doing it, like publishing that first video, and then just practicing from there on in, and seeing the personal growth in you as you move through. Because although my channel's talked earlier about moving slower than what I would like, and I think everyone is kind of the same with their channels, but your personal growth, I know it maybe sounds a bit cheesy to say this, but that will come on leaps and bounds far quicker than you'll actually see your channel grow. Potentially your channel might explode, but I think the difference I've seen in myself, not just in the videos that I do on YouTube, but just I feel like I'm a better communicator now from in my home life, at work. I feel more confident, and just the thrill that you get from doing YouTube. It's kind of like a kind of, it's the same dopamine hit for me as like if I went out for a run or went to the gym. I don't go to the gym, but I do run, or I used to run a lot, not quite as much now. That feeling you get after doing it, it's the thought of doing it sometimes is a bit, but then once you actually do it, the feeling you get from it's really good, and that feeling will last. It lasts quite a long time. So yeah, no, I think if you'll surprise yourself when you do it, for sure. There's a definite imposter syndrome issue sometimes. Yeah, yeah, especially when especially if you're trying to educate people on YouTube. I think it becomes a bit more of an imposter syndrome, plays a bigger part, because especially when you're starting out, you kind of question, well, who am I to tell people how to do this? Obviously, if you're doing entertainment, it's not to say that there's maybe not imposter syndrome still, but it's maybe slightly less pressure on yourself, because it depends on what type of entertainment you're doing, right? But I mean, if you're trying to do comedy, I mean, I would say I would start to get imposter syndrome, because I'm definitely not the funniest person in the room. But yeah, imposter syndrome is, well, it's not just in YouTube, isn't it? It's everything in life, especially when we face something that we're not familiar with. There's always that voice. We're our own biggest critics more often than not, and that's the other thing as well. the thought of putting yourself on camera, and we all see our own flaws in ourselves more than anyone else is going to see those things. And um, you know, and we're probably all familiar with how we look and sound on camera being quite strange to us as well. And that's something that in 3 months of doing this, like I just don't think about that now. Like it's doesn't. I think my delivery getting better, hopefully, means that it's less cringe watching back as well. But I just don't care. Like to start with, I did, um, and I would go back into the house and edit my video with my headphones on so that my wife wouldn't hear it. Um, Whereas now, I don't really care. She hears it, even if she still takes the mic sometimes. Um, so yeah, but yeah, imposter syndrome. The only way to kind of conquer it, I think, is to do it and to keep showing up and doing it and make it so routine and so familiar. And you've then got, you've got a proven track record of showing up and doing that thing that you can actually let that voice take over and say, actually, no, you can do this. You've done it, and you can do it again. Nancy, you can do it, Kim. Absolutely, you can. Go for it, Kim. It's exciting and scary, but you'll love it. Absolutely. Would people watch Bingo live? Possibly. I don't know. Garbage 100%. I'm assuming that's about the kind of guru stuff, and you've just, this live hasn't just taken a drastic turn for the worst. Just add this hashtag. Yeah, just add this hashtag, and you'll go viral. Honestly, who has the front to even tell people that? Yeah, it is. It is true. And but the thing is that's what I mean, right? People want to grow their channels at whatever cost. So they'll go, right, well, that title and thumbnail and giving people that message is going to get clicks. And as long as, as long as the video is still sticking to what the title and thumbnail suggested, they'll spout off whatever rubbish they want. Because they know that most people are looking for quick results. So that's why, having like things like easy and quick in your titles, helps to kind of encourage people to click on it, because people are looking for, easy and fast routes to things. But at the same time, if you really want to build faith and grow your channel and gain subscribers and get people to put their trust in you, you need to then give them something that truly is easy and fast. And the reality is, not a lot of things are. Some things can be, like I did one about creating thumbnails in Canva easy and fast. And if you've never used it, then yeah, maybe it's not. But actually, with a bit of practice, that is an easy, fast thing to use. So I don't mind putting that in the title. But yeah, I certainly wouldn't just like say to someone, oh, well, just, use this hashtag and you'll go viral tomorrow, because that person's going to feel so bad when they think, oh, well, this guy's telling me that it works for all these people, but it's not working for me. So it's obviously something I've done. You're far better off with other people that, like the people we've talked about, like the people that are in this live just now, that are telling it for what it is. I think that's you're going to get a far better audience and gain more trust from the audience by sort of speaking it as it is. The magic hashtag. Yep. Yeah. It's like saying like there's a quick and fast way to win the lottery. If there was, then we'd all be millionaires, right? Haven't you heard about that one trick? Yeah. That's yeah. The message must be missed on me. Good banter going on. I need to go now, but I love this, and it's great to see everyone. Kim, I don't. Yes, I don't. Yeah, maybe Jay's dropped. But yeah, if you're still on, thanks Jay for joining. I appreciate it. Catch up with you soon. Okay. Kim, tag me in your first video in a comment so that I see it. That's a good idea. Yeah. Same goes for me, Kim, please. Yeah, lots of people saying the same. No pressure for you, Kim, obviously, but you know, when you're ready, everyone's keen to see it. I always have ideas when I'm on lives interacting with others. I've just been rethinking my new channel, and maybe I'm better to include it in my existing one. What do you think? Yeah, well, because yeah, you've got this kind of small business kind of channel that you're thinking about starting as well, which I think's a good idea. Your existing channel I think, has got really good stuff in it. It really helps me to think a little bit deeper about stuff in my life, and some of that stuff I can apply to what I'm doing with YouTube as well. So I find your videos really good. They're not too long. You keep them to the point, and they're kind of thought provoking. And I think because I think Catherine, you said you've either been on podcasts before or you hosted a podcast before. If that's something that you have a bit of a talent for, I think that would be good on your channel, your existing channel, and the business one as well. But um, the reason I say that is because the one of the podcasts I used to watch a lot, and he's big in the UK. So if anyone not in the UK, you might not have heard of him, but he's called Stephen Bartlett, and he's got a podcast called The Diary of a CEO, and it's on YouTube, and it's kind of just on like Audible podcasts as well. And he used to do so. The idea was he would interview kind of entrepreneurs, and um, the conversations would get really quite deep, and that's what I really liked about it. Now he's kind of gone weird with it now, in my opinion, and it's all kind of just kind of clickbaity stuff, because he's got all these big sponsors now, um, and I think that's why he's kind of gone a little bit strange with it. So I don't even subscribe to him anymore. But the point I was going to get to, Catherine, was that, in my opinion, like some of the things that you talk about would lend itself well to podcasts. So speaking to people and drawing on their experiences. And, because obviously a lot of what you talk about is, kind of leans into personal well-being, mental health. These are really kind of popular topics. I mean, there's so much focus now on looking after ourselves, not just physically but mentally as well. Um, especially, I've noticed a lot more recently, men. Um, it's something that, I mean, obviously I'm a man, but I you know need to kind of think more about my mental health, and um, I think I'm not saying it should be targeted towards men. I think, but just in general, I think men or women, there's probably a lot of people who still don't put enough priority on it. And um, I think that an engaging discussion between two people on a podcast, talking about things and interviewing different people, because everyone's going to come from different walks of life, have had different experiences, and all those different experiences and walks of life are going to be relatable to somebody. And obviously podcasts are a good thing for watch hours as well, because some podcasts can go on for half an hour, 2 hours. So from that point of view, it's quite a good thing to do. And I know we've talked about doing a podcast more probably targeted towards my niche in terms of small creators, and that's something that I'd like to do with other people. And I know that Jay, who was on earlier, has done that as well. So I think for either of your channels, it would be a good thing worth exploring. And if you wanted to, if I was to interview you, make a deal. If I interview you as my first guest on my podcast, if you'd like, you can interview me as your first guest. How about that? There's something to think about. Kim, thanks for the support and the love. Absolutely, that's what we're here for. Kim, that's what my channel is all about. Yeah, it's about sharing my own highs and lows, but it's about encouraging other people as well, because I really do think it'll be the best thing you do. Guess, yeah, sharing what I've learned in life and business. Yeah, I had a podcast and have been interviewed on them. Okay, so you've definitely got that kind of experience to draw on. I love Diary of a CEO. So I've just been slating it. You know what? I like Stephen Bartlett. I think he's so like I would love to be able to kind of interview people like he does, because he's got a really good way of a good presence and a good way of kind of extracting information from people and getting them to open up, and that's a real skill. And there's been a lot of good episodes in the early days. As I say, it was all about business owners, and I've always been a bit entrepreneurial, hence I'm doing YouTube. And that was what drew me to it, was learning what makes all these entrepreneurs tick, what inspires them, what motivates them. So I really liked it from that point of view. It then kind of got it more into kind of interviewing celebrities um, and kind of wellness experts and stuff like that, which was okay. But then some of the stuff recently, I'm not going to spend too much time talking about this, but some of the stuff recently has been like, World War III's just around the corner, and all. Yeah, I don't need drama in my life. I've got enough drama in my life without listening to that. And so I feel like it's more and more that kind of stuff now, and it's kind of lost its purpose of its title, like Diary of a CEO. You're not interviewing businessmen anymore or business people. It's yeah, I, it's there are good episodes, and I don't have anything against him for changing direction. I think it's come through. He's got big sponsors on it. Like last time I listened to him, I think he had like Mercedes Benz was a sponsor, British Airways. So they're expecting big results, aren't they? They're expecting lots of views, and before they're paying him significant money, presumably to advertise on his podcast. So I think he's navigated away from his North Star a little bit and is starting to go into the kind of clickbaity type stuff. That's my opinion. Mental health is equally as important as physical health. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And it's, I mean, there's been leaps and bounds that have come forward. Lots of people are kind of more tuned into their mental health now than they used to be. But I think I know for men it's still a bit of a, there's still that kind of hunter gatherer mentality, I think, amongst men, and it's wrong. It shouldn't be like that. But I think not enough people, men in particular, are kind of looking after themselves in that respect. But that's why there's the more people that are talking about it in podcasts and on YouTube and stuff like that, the better, because it normalizes it, doesn't it? It should make people more comfortable to kind of open up, and I think that's got real powerful possibilities there. Kim, I just watched an interview with Jimmy Fallon. He is a good interviewer. I feel bad for slating him now, right? As I say, I think he's a good guy. I've nothing against him, but yeah, and those types of ones where he interviews sort of celebs, like Jimmy Fallon's obviously a big name, well, in America, and he's quite a big name in the UK as well. But yeah, he's those can be quite good, because it's nice to have a bit of an insight into kind of celebrity life, or their kind of origins and stuff. So that sort of thing is good. And you're right, he has got a really good way of interviewing. It's a real skill that he has. So yeah, I'll lay off him. Naz, there's a new guy called Des Hamilton, who's an incredible podcast for aspiring and experienced e-commerce entrepreneurs. It's called something like Goodbye Poor Hello Rich. Oh, I'll have to give that a, I'm going to write that down, Naz, because I'll forget. Des Hamilton. Cheers for that, Naz. Okay, wrote that down. There's no way I'd remember that name. Not that it's a particularly strange name, just I'm useless with names. Catherine, I'm happy to just do my videos, keeping it simple in retirement. I've done the hustle business thing in the past, and I'm in a different phase now. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's the your prerogative, isn't it, Catherine? You know, you can take that channel, either of those channels, as far as you want to take them, or you can just organically see where they go, without having to kind of set any kind of bold targets and stuff like that. So that's, you know, I'm kind of like that. You know, I do hold on to an ambition of this becoming my 9 to 5. So you know, but I'm not. Maybe the attitude's not 100% tuned in, but I'm not applying real pressure to myself to or putting myself under pressure, because I've got a lot to deal with this, but I'm hoping to see some traction. So that's it. But yeah, everyone's approaching their YouTube channels differently, I guess. But I think if you were wanting to, you talked about, and you have talked about in your videos, and you mentioned it in the chat earlier, was you like to give value to people. I think that format of doing podcasts, especially in the mental health genre, or the business genre for that matter, if you enjoy talking about it, then it would definitely give value to people. Okay. What time are we at? 20 to 10 local time. I'll maybe speak for a little bit longer. What else did I have? I've covered quite a lot here. Celebrating small wins, kind of touched on that. Setting goals, kind of touched on that. But yeah, I'm curious for anyone that's still here. Well, obviously, Catherine, we've just talked kind of about goals and in terms of your channel, but for everyone else, you know, what is your ultimate aim, or where would you like to get your channel to? Have you set like a benchmark, or are you breaking it down into kind of small goals? Because obviously, things that can seem unattainable can be kind of not demoralizing, but kind of demotivating. You know, for me, I set myself the goal of getting monetized in 12 months, but I think my total watch hours after 3 months is I'm probably not going to get there. But I'll keep kind of striving for that. But I guess that's probably a natural thing for people to kind of target, just because it unlocks a few things. You know, it's never going to make a living just purely off of AdSense and things. I understand that, but I think that yeah, you know, that's kind of a natural first thing to target, and then just kind of building it up. But what I've learned from other people is, like, so like Ty Myers, for example, you don't have to have that kind of silver play button thing to make a business out of YouTube. You could potentially start a business even at the size of the channel I am now, and I'm starting to kind of look at, okay, well, what does that business model look like, and where do I think the channel needs to be in terms of size for that to really take off. And I'm still kind of trying to figure that out just now. But yeah, I'm interested to know for anyone else what they're doing. Is it just purely for fun, or do they want to try and, you know, are they just wanting to get to the point where they achieve AdSense so that they've got a little bit of passive income, or are they looking to, you know, replace their 9 to 5? I'm curious what everyone's trying to do. Catherine, I've got goals about the number of subscribers I want, and it's written down. Yeah, you were saying that yesterday in your video. Yeah, I know. I know. So I'll finish your comment, but it's not a job for me. Yeah. Because well, you're obviously in retirement, and if you've not got that dependency on it, then I guess you've got that kind of freedom or relaxed kind of view to it as, well, it'll go where it goes kind of thing. But yeah, your video yesterday was about, obviously, you mentioned the statistic. It's like 42%, I think it was, around, people are more likely to achieve their goals if they write them down. And I've heard that or read that statistic in the past, and I'm really bad for not doing it. I started doing this thing called the Miracle Morning. Again, this was kind of before kids, and I was kind of getting up in the morning, and one of the things was about affirmations and having them written down, saying them out loud, and kind of starting your day with that kind of reaffirming that kind of message and that goal. This is where I want to be. Naz, figuring out how to make money from YouTube, monetizing off the platform. Some creators I really respect have turned AdSense off on YouTube because it's small fry compared to off. Yeah, and I think that's exactly right. The anyone you speak, anyone you watch who is who's monetized will tell you that, yeah, fine, you'll get some money off that, but it wouldn't replace the day job or pay your bills. Now, again, I guess it depends on the size of the channel. I mean, I would venture a guess that the likes of Ali Abdal, for example, who's got 7 million subscribers, he may well be making a tidy bit of money from AdSense alone. But not everyone is going to get a channel to that size. They're not going to get to the size of Mr. Beast and these types of people. So yeah, you have to look outside of AdSense for how you can use YouTube as the foundation for a business. But when you actually start to look into it, there's lots of ways that you can do it. And, whether it's coaching, online courses, yeah, it involves putting in a lot of work. But ultimately, if it gets you where you want to be and moving away from your kind of conventional 9 to 5, I would like to get to that point. I don't hate my job. I don't love it. I'm definitely not loving it just now. I've been having some issues, but again, that's kind of ups and downs. But it'd be great to kind of have the financial freedom, but the time freedom to do things on your own schedule and stuff. That's something, as with a young family, I'm feeling would benefit from. So it's not just about money. But yeah, I mean that's interesting that people are like, well, because that's the thing. If you disable AdSense and people don't have to watch ads on your videos, because I presume if you disable AdSense, if you're not getting the money, then surely YouTube doesn't put adverts in your videos for them to profit from. So if it's giving your audience or your customers a better viewing experience, then maybe it's worth the sacrifice of losing the AdSense to gain more customers. I guess that's probably where these people are coming from. 42% more likely to achieve goals if you write them down. Yep. I had an affirmation card business in 1998. It was my first one. An affirmation card business. I'm curious what that is. Is it like, yeah, you have to explain that one. Research from the Dominican University of California. Okay. That's the idea. No ads, less reason for viewers to click off. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's, I hadn't even thought on terms of the size of your channel. Maybe not actually, but yeah, if you, yeah, that's actually a good point. I'll have to think about that if I get there. I'll probably take AdSense for a while just to have some kind of a paycheck from YouTube if and when. It came from Jack Canfield back in the late 80s. He was one of my early personal growth mentors. He's the chicken soup for the soul author, among other things. Okay. It's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting to hear people talking about goals with their channels, because it's interesting to see the different motivations people have for growing their channels. You know, for me, as I said, I would like to get it to the point it becomes a business for me. And it's a lot of it's driven from flexibility around time and working on your own schedule and things like that. But another reason that I'm doing this is just to prove a point to my kids. And this is something that I've not, have I talked about this in my videos before? Maybe I have. Because my kids are 5 and 3, and you know, the school system in the UK certainly is still, it's quite, in my opinion, quite archaic, and it's still teaching kids and preparing kids for stepping into a work life that is based on a curriculum of the Industrial Revolution. But we're in the digital age now, and the game's changed, and I want to show my kids that if their dad can grow a successful YouTube channel and turn it into a business, that they can do it as well. So that's a huge part of why I'm doing this. Yes, I'd like to do it for myself, but it's also to try and show them that they can do that. And then they've got this, they can see that whole history of this is where their dad started to where he got it to hopefully to be an inspiration to them. Because, you know, I fear for, like, you know, I know AI is a good tool, and I know I'm getting deep now, but I don't know what the kind of, what is the world going to be like when they, you know, in 15 years time, when they're going out into the world to kind of, you know, forge a career for themselves. I think it'll be a lot different to when I left school, and therefore I think if they can do their own thing and not become a number as part of a big company that could be axed at any point, that's kind of where my head's at, is to show them that, look, you know, they can be an entrepreneur, they can do their own thing. Okay, thanks Naz for joining. If you're still here, I think you may be dropped, but thanks for joining. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm just going back to your comment. So I created and sold into retail stores box sets of it. That's clever. That's a good thing to do, isn't it? Because it's the sort of thing that it would be a pretty high markup on that type of thing, I would think. But it's the sort of thing that would be really popular. It's the sort of thing people would get as presents and stuff like that. That's quite a clever thing, Catherine. That was just Naz confirming that he had to go. If I was starting a business again, the very first thing I do is start an email list. And yeah, that's something I'm meaning to do, actually. And I was going to be doing it a couple of weeks ago, and I won't bore you with the details about why I didn't, but it is on my to-do list. It's just by Naz. What time is that? That is 5 to 10. I'm not going to do a Rob and stay for 3.5, 4 hours. You'll be glad to know. I think I might draw things to a conclusion here, but I've really enjoyed this. Hopefully you guys have as well, that are still on, and those that were on earlier. It was great to have you guys. Really appreciate the support and this kind of I'll say first live because it feels like the first one, because the actual first one was a while ago. So yeah, it was really good to have some familiar faces on. Amazing to have Rob drop in as well. I think obviously I know he's done that for other channels as well. So it was nice to have him drop in. But yeah, no, we covered a lot in that kind of almost 2 hours. And hopefully I answered all questions that were in. I think I managed to get through all the comments. I'm scrolling through them. I must have missed some. I don't know how Rob does it with like 200 people on it. But anyway, I think I caught everything. But yeah, no, listen, there was a lot. Some people I didn't expect to join. There was others who I thought would probably join, but I appreciate every one of you equally. It was really good fun, and yeah, I'll stop talking now. But yeah, have a great day and evening or wherever you are. Enjoy your day, and yeah, obviously we'll catch up again, I'm sure. Okay, right. See you later, guys. Bye for now. It's not letting me end it. Oh, hang on. It is now. Right. Okay, I'm definitely going now. Bye.